just smile.
It is great to see you again, man. We met at War Dogs,
Yes,
and that
I
interview
remember.
we could have gone all day. Went back and watched. I was like, this guy's really cool.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Congratulations. I
Thanks.
have never seen a movie quite like this.
Okay.
Ever.
That's good.
It blew my mind. People that had seen it before me said, you were in for something, Dave.
Right.
And they were right.
Wow.
As you went down the research path for this and you're getting ready to do a film, what was important to, because we know this character from past films, what was important to make this one different?
Well, what was important was, there's a lot of fear involved because of what came before, right? So there's been amazing performances and amazing movies, all that have Joker in them, amazing comics and really what was important was to kind of ignore all that, not in a disrespectful way, but if we didn't, it would just be paralyzing with the expectations and the, fear of basically taking that on. So that was the first important thing, and then the second important thing was really, which was really the goal of the movie, was to make something really grounded in reality, to run everything through as realistic a lens as possible, even though it's called Joker, even though it's a comic book movie.
Well, it is a comic character, but
Yeah.
were there any rules that you put in place that you wanted to stay within certain parameters? Because it seems like this one, again, I'm going back to the reference of never seen anything like this before. Were there any set guidelines that you wanted to stay within?
No, we don't tend to do that when writing anything, even if it's The Hangover or this. We kind of just let it go. And what was amazing about the studio and DC Comics, while it was hard to convince them to make it, once they agreed to do it, they really didn't give us any rules either. So it was, for us, a very liberating movie. And then you're making a movie about an unreliable narrator, and it's Joker. So it's like double liberating. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, exactly. And totally delivers, which leads me to the cast. Joaquin, just outstanding.
Yeah.
And a guy that totally immersed himself in this role.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the weight loss and things
Yeah.
like that. As you worked with him, what was that like, just that whole process?
It's hard to kind of put it into words how additive an actor he is. You would literally have to read the script and then watch the scene and go, oh, that's what an actor does, or an actor of that caliber. Because it's little things, it's giant things, it's weird things, it's grounding things. All that kind of put together makes for what this guy brings to all the parts he plays, probably, but this one in particular, at least for me, I just watch him every day with my jaw open. Really, he went for it.
As a director, I also have to give you kudos for bringing out a new Robert De Niro. He is outstanding, and it's a different De Niro than we've seen. Am I right?
Well, yeah, different in that, Bob is attracted to it's a flashier Bob because he's a talk show host, right? So that's not normally the Bob, although I would say Casino Bob is as flashy as it gets.
Well, but this isn't even different than that.
Yeah, it's different, and I think that's one of the things that attracted to him about it was, I remember him telling me a great story about being on the set of The King of Comedy and watching Jerry Lewis play Jerry Langford and thinking that's a hard thing to do, to with that energy and be that, not even just what Jerry Lewis was doing, but being a talk show host. We talked about that a little bit before we started. But yeah, it was great to, to have Robert De Niro and Joaquin Phoenix sort of facing off in a 9-page scene for me as a director was like, okay, I'm done.
I was going to ask you about that. How do you direct something like that?
Yeah.
Did you research mental illness at all? Because the Joker, this is the character's nuts, as we've known from past, but this characterization, this representation deals a little bit with mental illness. Was that something that you guys looked into?
It was something when we were writing we talked about. I don't know that we researched it so much because, again, we never really wanted to define what it is, not in the movie and not for Joaquin, because I didn't want it to be like, he has this, and then the actor Joaquin go and look up what that is and what that looks like. So, we don't say, and even in writing, we didn't want to follow those same kind of rules. So there's something off about him. He's definitely out of step with the world. But what the diagnosis is, I'm not sure.
But you know what? That's what makes it authentic, and that's what I really love about this film. Now that it's done, you look back at this experience, summarize it for me.
Just the greatest experience for me as a director of my life, just getting to work with someone like him and him going as deep and as all in as he did.
Joaquin, it is an honor and a thrill to talk with you today, sir.
Oh, thanks, man.
Love your work, and I've never seen a Joker quite like this. I've never seen a film quite like this, so congratulations and kudos to you. Outstanding performance.
Thank you.
How long did it take you to prepare for this? Because most of the time actors will bulk up. You went the other way.
It was a long process, and to be honest, I think some of the process, a lot of it is subconscious. I had been I'd met with Todd, but I think that after I met him, it was maybe 5 months before we started, before I really agreed to do the movie and then begin the real kind of conscious process of developing the character. But in that time, I started doing some studying and some research, and I think there are things that kind of develop in that process that you're not aware of. But I think what was interesting about this movie and the process of creating the character, or I should say really discovering it, because it felt like it was more of a discovery than a creation, was allowing for that process to unfold up until literally the last scene that we shot. We were still kind of being presented with possibilities of how he might behave in every moment. And so there was never a moment with this where I felt certain that I knew who the character was and I knew how he might behave in any given moment.
How long did it take you to get that laugh down? And were there other versions of it? Did you practice in the mirror?
I didn't practice in the mirror because I think what was important was that it was something that was internal. I think that was, for me, what was so brilliant about the idea that it was almost an affliction, or something that was an uncontrollable fit of laughter, was that it was something internal. Where typically when I think prior to this, I thought about the Joker laugh. I think we all have an idea of what the Joker laugh is, but how do you get there? And so I had a lot of videos that I studied, but it was a process. And again, even once I think that we had found the laugh and had shot a scene and it worked, a couple of days later we do it again and it just wouldn't be there and it wouldn't feel right. So it wasn't like a science there. I didn't have a go-to way of approaching it to get the laugh down.
How do you decompress after, this is a very emotional characterization of the Joker. I mean, it's a very authentic, if you know the character from the comics in the past, one of the most authentic I think that we've ever seen of this character. But how do you decompress after shooting? There's some tough scenes in this film. How did you decompress?
Why would you decompress? You have to work tomorrow. It's funny because there was something that I think that Todd and I found that it reciprocated so much, the process and the character. It was energizing. I was surprised by that. I was surprised that we would wrap and I'd go, well, what am I gonna do now? And so I would just go home and look at the scenes for the upcoming week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance, call Todd. We would discuss kind of the possibilities. We would talk about what we'd filmed previously. Was that working? How does that tie into what we're doing next week? And so I actually found that I was inspired every day by this film. I mean, I like working, but I couldn't wait to get to work. And most days I showed up very early, at least an hour early, and sometimes a couple hours early, because I just wanted to be there and I wanted to talk with Todd. So I didn't feel like there was anything that was debilitating about making this movie.
Thank you for what you gave us. It's just outstanding.
Oh, so
you really immersed yourself in this one, I can tell.
Send in the clown.